For today's lesson in Buxton, A Lost Utopia, we are coming back to Part 1, Center Street. We want to remember that our main supporting question for our unit is, how was Buxton a unique community? In our last lesson, we looked at this picture and did our best to analyze it as a source of information. We answered questions about what type of source it was, the creator, when it was created, and the different things that we saw in the photo and why the photographer may have taken this picture. In today's lesson, we want to dig a little deeper and look at more specifics in the picture. So, let's look closer. What do you notice about the structure of the buildings? That means, what do you notice about how these buildings are made? One thing I notice is that many of them look very similar. I wonder why that was. Maybe it was easier for the builders to make buildings that all looked the same. Maybe it was faster to put them together. Do you see anything different about some of these buildings? Why do you think the buildings were constructed this way? Why would they want so many buildings that look so similar? Another thing I really want you to look at and think about in this picture is, why do you think these buildings are organized the way they are? If we look carefully at this image, we can see that the buildings all seem to be in rows. They're not scattered around in a random order. Why would the builders want to make the buildings organized like this? In your assignment today, you'll be looking at this sheet and answering some of the questions that I just asked and made some observations about. Hopefully you were able to make some observations too. Here are your questions for your assignment. What do you notice about the structure of these buildings? Or, what do you notice about how these buildings are made? How are they similar or the same? And how are the buildings different? Why might these buildings be constructed this way? So, why did the builders decide to build these buildings the way they did? And last, why might they be organized like this? Why would the people who constructed the buildings put them in the way that they did? Why not put them all over the place in a random way? How did it help them to organize it this way? To complete these questions, you'll click inside the text box and type your answers. If you need to go back and look at the picture, you have your student materials, or you can go back in this video and pause it so you can look closely at the images to answer these questions the best you can. Have fun observing.